Hello, this is Dee Dryden, and welcome to Reflections of Faith. And I think this is a personal encounter. Today I went to the meeting with the girls, and we were studying The Power of Blessing by Kerry Kirkwood. And one of the girls, after we got through with the lesson, we were on The Power of Unity on chapter 8 in the book, and that's a little bit over halfway. And as I'm having one of the girls videotape me explaining that God is about to do a miracle in all of our lives this week, I saw myself, a heaviness come over me. It was a mixture of heaviness, and in the tape you can see where I'm about to break down. Tears in my eyes. But the reason being is when that heaviness comes upon me, I get this feeling of I'm going to start saying goodbye to my family and friends. And so that is a mixture of, loss, and it's a mixture of excitement and joy, because God has confirmed to me, the Spirit has confirmed to me over and over again that I'm going to be going to Montana. Montana in itself is a story. The first time I went there was in 2006 to 2009, and in that time God exposed to me my past and my present and my future. I met a lady, a woman about my same age at the time, who had my first, middle, and last name. I had journaled about her 2 years ahead of time that I do this. The Bible calls it the gift of knowledge. And so I had journaled her life before I had ever met her, and he took me 2 states away, and in a matter of coincidences, if you want to call it that, or I call it a divine appointment, because he had rearranged the whole universe for me to meet this woman through a series of events that had happened that were there were too many coincidences and too many things that were lining up that it could not be looked at as divine appointment. She had both my first, middle, and last name, and within 45 minutes time, and I'll go into that in another video, God had used me as his vessel to save her life. Literally, she was going to commit suicide, and he literally sent me 2 states away, and in that time period saved her life. And that still to this day astounds me, how he would go out of his way for one person. But there was a twofold thing in that, and I'll explain that to you later. But that in itself is a video all by itself. Shortly after her, I met a gentleman who had a terminal sickness called MS, and of course when you have an MS, it's a slow death, dying disease, unless God intervenes miraculously and heals that person. You're pretty much stuck with a long period of just knowing that you're going to pass away. This particular person, this particular man, I ended up as his caregiver and falling in love with him. That in itself is also a miraculous story, because he had my ex-husband's nickname, and through a series of events that I won't go into right now, that again, that in itself is video in all of it by itself, as he represented my present, and I'll explain that in a minute. Then throughout all that process, from the first week that I was there, I met a woman who had my legal name. She actually grew up in South Dakota and went through the same things I had, and she lived not too far from where I'm at right now. And she then became my mentor throughout this whole process from 2006 to now. I call her on a regular basis. She's happily married, she's retired, she lives there. When I came back from Montana, I came back for several reasons. First of all, my health I wasn't in very good shape. My health was suffering, and because I am registered Sioux, American Sioux, I get my health care here in Rapid City or on the reservation. So I had to come back. There was no way that I couldn't, and I was having complications with the person that I was taking care of as well. So when I came back, a couple of a year into, in 2009, we buried some major players that had raised me in my family and in my friends, and some things that I had went through from 2009 until now. But the girl that I had my first, middle, and last name. She, at the time she was in Montana, worked in a bar. Well, she represented my past. And that's a story I'm not, again, going to go into, but I worked in a bar. I worked in a redneck bar, rich bar, Indian bar, and Air Force bar. As a matter of fact, I sold the most Budweiser in the state of South Dakota at one point. And I'm not playing that up or anything. I'm just telling you that it goes along with this story of that representing my past and she representing my past. So I knew all about her life. She also had 2 sons, and it's just, I have a journal of that when I go into it, you will be amazed, because I'm still amazed thinking about it. The person that had the MS also represented my present. When I came back, my ex-husband, eventually it ended up getting a long-term disease that eventually killed him as well, and that was cancer. And so I walked my sons through that. That represented my present. Now I believe that I am walking into my future and going back to Montana. While I was down here, God gave me that revelation that's why he sent me to Montana. It was a huge picture of my past, present, and my future. So the lady that I had met, who has my legal name, Dolores, she is happily married and in Big Fork, Montana, and she lives by this beautiful lake, and she just has an amazing life. She became my mentor from the week that I was there to today. And I believe that God had revealed to me that is a representation of my future. So today, when I was down with the girls reading the blessings, the power blessing and group prayer, I know and I understand from past experience that when 2 or 3 gather together and God is in the midst of them, whatever they ask, they shall have. One of the girls had told me when we were listening the last time we had gotten together that she believed that I was going to Montana. Now, I don't remember having ever told her that, but I simply don't remember if I ever had or not. But we had sat down and we were quiet and silent and asking God to confirm anything that he had to tell us about our lives, and that was one of the things that she came up with. So that was like a 3rd or 4th confirmation that he had told me himself by the power of the Holy Spirit in me, giving me revelation of that. So I believe that these things are going to happen very quickly now, and I think that I'm going to be heading home, away from home. So it's a mixture of excuse me, getting my sons on their way and me on my way, and closing this chapter in our lives down and selling this home and leaving things behind us and starting out a new beginning for all of us. That is can be pictured as a blessing in disguise. So I'm looking forward to going home, but in the same token, he's preparing my heart for taking me through saying goodbye and the feelings of going through that now, along with the joy of going home. I believe that I will be retiring and my last days, and I will die in Montana. That will be where I live out the rest of my days. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to retire, I guess. I'm ready to let go of people and allow them to run their own lives, and along with my family and my friends. But it's in everything, it's hard to say goodbye. It's not that I won't come back and visit. It's not that I won't get together. It's just a goodbye. So I wanted to recap that first video that we did. It wasn't something that was a sad thing. It was a mixture of joy and gladness, because I know what's coming ahead, and it's huge. And I really like this scene that I picked out. It represents the lake that my mentor is on. She lives by this beautiful lake. And so when I picked out this scene for doing this. It was the perfect scene. So I thank you for joining me on Reflections of Faith. Be blessed to be a blessing. Again, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions under the spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, social, and financial, please feel free to drop a comment down on the bottom there. Thank you for joining me, and God bless.